What you are about to watch is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute any type of advice. Always question the validity of what you see and what you hear. Viewer discretion is advised.
So you want to be a better tyrant? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Tyranny 120. We're going to touch on a very delicate yet powerful subject: money. I'm not talking about the monopoly garbage that you have imposed on the population. I'm talking about the real valuable assets that hold some degree of value regardless of economical situations. Let's face it. If your bodies who print your money and your bodies at the bank go belly up because the public turn on them, whatever vehicle, property, gold, and any other tangible good that is not just paper with a face printed will hold its value. As you know, labor is another form of valuable assets. Most of your people don't realize that their time and how they invest that time is what keeps the economy going. Because the lies that you and your tyrant allies and even your enemies have spread, your people seem to mistake the economy for this structural force that depends on how much money is available to the population. But you and I know the truth. The true economy is the labor force because it is what keeps production based on demand that exists in the world. In exchange, you are providing them with documents claiming to have some type of value and backed by your reserve and accepted by banks. This is why such ruse has been going on for so long. It is because your bankers who know better than upsetting you because you have all kinds of dirt on them, and your server, aka money printers, are all in on it. If it was a true impartial third party involved, this person will tell you to kick the curb the moment you brought paper to a gold and jewelry party. However, it is your good fortune that people don't usually ask questions. And since you have indoctrinated them since they were children to not question your authority and to acknowledge that there is some type of value on paper with pretty pictures and numbers on them. Let's do a bit of a quiz here. What is the difference between a dollar bill and a $100 bill? Absolutely nothing. They are both the same color, shape, and texture. The only difference is what is printed on them, which, thanks to the monopoly games that you played with your servants, no one really gets what the truth is. People like you have also done an excellent job at smashing the competition. No money printer who's not authorized by you and given the right codes to insert into the bills can compete with you. If they do, you can toss them into a cold sale and call their desire for competition counterfeiting and money laundering. People will even call you a hero for cracking down on them. People like you have figured out how to monopolize an entire market while cracking down on other industries that have no right monopolizing without your authority. You can hear people say, "What a heroic man you are. Let's have him elected again. And when he can serve no more, let's elect those closest to him." They do such a good job at cracking down on crime. Now, when you spend time with your other tyrant friends, you can bring this up as an end of the year joke and let them know. They think I'm a hero. Not only will your friends laugh about it, but they will admire you too for figuring it out and fooling the world with such a simple concept. Just be careful not to go overboard, and when they begin to crack down on you, slowly begin to switch to a piece of plastic that they can swipe or scan and trust that their money is there. Every time it is scanned, it sends a signal to the merchant making the sale and to the bank. The merchant and the buyer are just as clueless, but the banks are in on it. They have known that all it will do is send a minus signal and decrease the number. There's no real money there, but the population doesn't need to know. Another thing that you need to crack down on are those fools who keep proclaiming that gold is the solution and leading people to invest in buying solid gold. Crack down on them through taxation, and in case that's not enough, to get them to keep playing Monopoly, spread rumors that it is not true that gold is a good investment. If possible, have some investors or some credible source deliver the message. Spread rumors that cryptocurrencies are the way to go. And have some scammers spread the word and let them for a while scam the public. Then when the tension builds up, start cracking on the biggest players, and this will buy you some time because people will run right back into cash and plastic. So your game will extend a bit away from its expiration date. I'm sure the digital coin garbage won't pick up, but just in case, have your bankers and money printing reserve get involved. If it never picks up, they will run back to cash and trust it more than ever. If they move into digital coins, use your policy to request that they only use your blockchain and the blockchain of those who your stamp of approval is held. Which if those who are in for the money are more than willing to report all the data you ask for, they will be in it for you. This is what I call a win-win situation. If they stick to your old school cash strategies, you win. If they move into their new encrypted currencies, you win too. This is why smart tyrants bet on both sides of the equation. All those who are onto you and get what you're doing may get on social media or video hosting platforms. Your two options are to censor them if it is at all possible. If you can't censor them, ensure that they are labeled as crazy conspiracy theorists. They are not a big threat. They are more of an annoyance. Last Christmas, one of the tyrants was actually watching one of the channels. He mentioned, wow, this guy gets it nearly down to the T. Too bad people think he's crazy. And then proceeded to laugh as he sipped on the whiskey we were being served that day. He also looked at those who believe in the Illuminati and the flat earth and said they are so far off. The name of the club is not even close to be called that. I almost forgot to mention that if you can induce some level of poverty, this can help you immensely. But you don't want too much because people won't be able to pay their share of taxes. They may even ask you to leave the office. Instead, use your statisticians and data scientists to figure out a decent margin for how much poverty you need. They will identify with the scarcity of the monopoly money and will value it more than when they had it. Also create an illusion that there are such things as a middle class so that they have some imaginary goal to look up to. It will keep them in the labor force with a smile because they will imagine that they can move into that imaginary class one day. It's just like we discussed in the 40 Laws of Power on another video. Play into people's fantasy and you will build a cult-like following. If at all possible, establish some little tax breaks once in a while for the poor guy so he can think that you're a good fella. Don't worry, this won't come out of your pocket. Just make sure that those who think that they are the middle class pay. Others will spread that lie, sorry man, it's part of being of the middle class. They will gladly pay their taxes without questions and say to themselves and each other that this is happening because they are earning good money. If someone gets smart with you, have your agents check them up so that they pay, and if they still refuse, nothing a little time in a cell won't fix. If needed, tax their tobacco, alcohol, and fuel and say that this is the best for the population. Most will not even question it. A few will question it, a few will question the fuel, but let them know that it is so much hard work to bring the fuel to them. Before electric cars become more prevalent, ensure that the fuel keeps selling and halt the acceptance and cost of electric vehicles. Encouraging to raise the cost is the best strategy, so most people won't even be able to afford them. This will give you the time to sell the remaining petroleum and not lose money, or have those who hold similar power as you to lose their money. Upsetting the wrong tyrant can put you in hot water. You're not the only one or the most powerful either. Play the carrot on the stick game if you get a chance. That one is a classic. Raise the minimum wage. That will place a burden in production, and in turn, production will raise the cost of goods and services because now the cost of goods and services that is being sold has increased. They will be back at square one, but they won't even realize that you had a play on this game. You can also allow for the tyrants in real estate to raise their prices on the roof of the people. That is a fun game to play because it drives the population crazy. Some will quit and want nothing to do with it, but the majority will pick up extra hours and even a second or third job. All these concepts are tested and repeatable. History tells us so much about it. Unions are a real pain in the rear because they somewhat bargain and ask for more. Some will take some type of bribe, but even that is such a waste because you have to output your hard-earned monopoly money to get them to chill. If you can avoid people at all costs from joining unions, that's what's best for some of the most powerful industrial tyrants. Make rumors that they are thieves and take a free cut of the employees' money. Then pass laws that make it mandatory not to join unions. Most people will be thankful and don't realize how bad this move actually hurts them. Another way you can squeeze more of their time and hard labor is to monetize the family structure. Unfortunately, this one is not as lucrative as it once was because it is getting played out and they are figuring it out. What you need is a court that manages the contractual family. They might not want to realize it and even deny it, but family is a big business. Make it very easy for someone to get married, label it as freedom, but what won't be part of the freedom or free is their divorce and parenting arrangements if they have kids. The thought process behind it is very simple and easy to comprehend. People who divorce usually do so because the relationship is not good. The family, friends, and what they have learned before will keep them trying to work it out until they can no more, and they dislike each other so much that they need to file for divorce. At that point, the bitterness takes over, and they will try to take from each other, which is when and where your court comes into play. Have the default be having to pay a lawyer in order to not lose big time, and they will fork more of their hard work in order to earn more of the paper money and fight in court. They will really struggle to figure this one out. As long as you control the marriage filing, you will control the family structure. There will be a few who can divorce on their terms and even without a lawyer and not ask anything of each other. But there are so few that I can count them with one hand, and I know lots of people. Don't worry, for the looks of it, this scheme still has a good while to go before they figure it out and finally no one gets married. In some states, the courts have automatically married them without their permission by living together. They have given it a fancy name, such as common law. Now, another way that you can monetize the family structure is through forcing them to take their kids to school so your system can indoctrinate them. There will be a few who take the private school or the homeschool option, but don't worry, these people will serve you too, but in a bit of a different way, depending on how successful they are. They may end up working directly for your structure, which at the end still benefits you. Remember, for you, it's not about the money. That is just monopoly tickets. It is about the labor that sustains the game, and as long as there are players, the game will keep going. Some other tyrant already figured a strategy out. He has spread the rumors that it is good to hustle up. The masses have given it a name, hustle culture. What I'm about to tell you may blow your mind. Are you ready? Any conspirator that appears on the scene, and trust me, there are a few who have figured it out. I will need several hands to count them because there are that many of them. But the point is that you're not to do anything to them. Don't touch them, don't bother them. Some of them are even making so much of that monopoly money that they have stopped working the standard jobs that you laid out for them. But don't worry, they are still paying their taxes, which in turn they will be thrown in a cell if they don't, because they have also figured out that you won't put them in a cell for speaking up, but that you will do it if they don't pay taxes. Some tyrants are really angry at this, but there's no need for anger. Let them be free, because the moment anyone touches them, the tyranny will become obvious and the game shifts completely if that happens. Plus, in a way, it is best to let them play their own version of their game because they will stir things up. Some of them will get popularity and recognition, and in turn will spread more monopoly money by playing less, which will get others to work harder and play more. Some tyrants have figured out the freedom of speech issue by allowing private platforms to silence anyone who doesn't agree with their word policing. They have even given it a name such as cancel culture. It has stirred things up pretty good because so many people are fighting over it, as some agree that you're doing is divine while others realize how devilish it actually is. Let them fight it out. It is fun to watch. If any of them confront you, just let them know there's nothing you can do because it is a private platform and they still have the rights and public access. We will figure out eventually how to take that away one day. Some tyrant has figured that one out by making the public submissive through what they call social credit score. But we're not there yet, and implementing it too early could mean your ruin and the ruin of other tyrants playing the game. That can put you in hot water. If you're going to be a tyrant, never ruin the game for another tyrant. The work sector has done a really good job of playing your game. They are teaching their employees about microaggressions, which in reality, they are teaching them to be hypersensitive on how to get easily offended and take things to heart. It teaches them to police each other's words and behaviors. It even will keep accusers anonymous. The right to face their accusers does not apply to work. This is so genius. The response of the policing department, called Human Resources, is that it is not court. Anyone wanting civil rights will not get them. Some even think that HR is in their favor, but the reality is that it is in favor of the best interest of the company. They also do their best to keep those pestering unions away and out of your business and their businesses. Give them tax breaks as much as you can based on how well they know your tax codes. They will have to pay lawyers and licensed accountants, which in turn plays into your game distributed by the agencies who rule in your favor. You will see how the world is not so bad for people like you, I, and the rest of the tyrants. It may be a bit hard to believe, but leaving things on the open as far as the rules of the game is in your best interest because number one, most of everyone likes to be told what to do and find it way too much work to figure things out. And they are so used to being told what to do since your schools train them so well to think like that. There's no need for extra work to do here. Number two, those who do figure out how to get a step closer to the system will have to pay to play. Make the legal practice more and more expensive to play. Don't worry, the schools who will charge for people to become lawyers will be very expensive. Then make them take bar exams and have them pay for those licenses. Some will play into the game out of foolishness and will owe so much money by the time they're done that their objective will become getting out of debt for a good portion of their lives. Places like Washington State, who have a system for people to play the game without going to law school, are so few that you don't have to worry about them. Even those places will require the players of the game to play into it for years. The rule is that if you don't pay with your cash, you play with your time or pitch into the wage slavery fund and pay with both. To play into the taxation and money game, which we have placed under the finance umbrella, it is also another structured and well-established game. People have to go to institutions approved by you, which we know it takes time and costs more than monopoly money, and it is great at creating debt against the players. Then in some instances, there are work and time requirements that in turn feed back into your game. Remember, we established that if people don't pay with their time, they will pay with their cash. And if they don't have cash, they will pay with both, through debt. This applies here. I guess they all pay with their time too at the end of the day. But that extends this time even more. Now, there were ways to become representative agents of this game, which doesn't cost lots of time or money, but it helps you because it only takes those smart enough to figure it out, and you want those on your side because they will further play into the taxation game. They will teach their paying clients how to understand and work with your tax code, which will earn them popularity and in turn more of that monopoly money. But for you, what it means is that you have more people playing the game. Those people will play it more efficiently, but nevertheless, they will play it. Be patient and slow to anger. Think with your logic. Remember that although it matters how people play, because those who know how to play efficiently will have advantages. But the most important part is that you get the population to play. If there's no one to play, the game comes to a halt, and you will have made lots of enemies for messing up such lucrative game. Like I mentioned before, you will have enemies by entering this game as a tyrant. That's inevitable. But what you want to avoid is having any of those tyrants take action against you. The truth is that not even the ones that claim to be your allies like you. They simply know that they need you. This is it for today. See you soon.